So another thing that we've been thinking about, we were chatting off camera.
We think a lot
We do
about things.
We do this,
Yes.
and there's there's 0.5 seconds of silence before we start talking again.
Quick tip of the day. I like to give a quick tip of the day.
T of the D.
I saw a good post the other day about when you go to bed, do not scroll through
saw that
social
same one.
media
Yeah,
an hour
an hour.
before you go to bed. I'm in. Because I'm bad. I'll lay in bed and I'll start, and then my mind's going, and then I'm like,
there's FOMO, and then there's
Yeah.
comparing, and there's also like, oh,
Yeah.
I can do this, yeah.
right.
You don't need to an hour before. Like,
No.
really, let's say if you go to bed, whether it's 10 o'clock or 11, you really need to be doing
No.
anything and responding to things at
No.
that time.
That was a side note, sorry. I apologize. But something
dare
that
you.
we've been thinking about is
This whole notion of when we're working in the industry and you're coming across different agents and situations, man, do we love it when there's a rapport and it's being kind and there's some respect there, both for the situation and what's going on, and just realizing that you're working with somebody on the other end who might be going for a lot. It's really frustrating, as I know that you can relate to, when it's this almost attitude from the get-go, or this sense of superiority, whether you've worked in the industry 2 years or 20 years.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it comes back to our motto as a brokerage: work hard and be kind. And as you said, when you have that agent on the other side, that you build that relationship, that first phone call isn't they're mad at you or they're trying to prove a point. Well, I've done this for 40 years. I did a little funny post last night. The anchor man, I'm kind of a big deal. People know me.
Yeah.
And, trying to play that card, it really sours the negotiation right off the bat. And again, everyone has their own thing, their own shtick, their own style and approach. But I think, and we wanted to sort of lead into, as a new agent, some of the tips that you can pick up from guys like us that have been doing it for a while. I think one of the biggest things is being kind to the other agent. And respectful. When you're negotiating a big deal like that, if you can have a good relationship with that other agent, and we're going to talk about some of those agents a little bit later that we've had some dealings with lately, but I would say that would be one tip I would give a new agent. If you're starting out in the business, really work on just having a good attitude. Let me tell you, there's going to be some bad days, and there's going to be some frustration with other agents and whatnot, but it doesn't give you an excuse to be a jerk, to be a bully, to try and one-up someone. And that, I know I've had that a few times when I started, and I just felt absolutely destroyed by a couple agents where I got off the phone and I was almost in tears because they were just belittling me, and you don't know what you're doing, and I didn't, but
isn't it funny though too?
You're supposed to laugh, and I didn't, and I still don't. No, but yeah, anyway,
still learning.
It just, you don't need to have that approach, and because again, I can tell when I'm working with a new agent, I could absolutely try and crush them.
Yep.
But what good is it to do that? It just doesn't benefit anyone.
I think it's bad karma too, in my opinion. It's certainly, and I think about this too, when someone's being a bully, or someone's being a know-it-all, or something,
Do we have
whatever it
like a realtor bully awareness line?
there should be. On an old phone
starting
with a
one.
cord.
Oh,
Sometimes I wonder, like, do your clients understand how you're being?
I know.
Would they be okay with that?
Good point.
Honestly. And
Great
if
point.
the answer is no, then that's, again, I've always been under the rule of thumb, how I operate, how I know you operate, is I'm here to facilitate. I'm here to be a great negotiator. I'm here to get the deal done, but also it's what my clients want. And if the clients are on the other end, like pit bulls yelling, and they're getting their agent to do the same, I guess that's their tactic. But to be fair, like you said, what if you deal with this agent again? What if there's a sour experience, and then lo and behold, they want to show one of your great properties? Of course, you're not going to necessarily say no, but at the same time, what are your
memories?
Sure, come and do it. I can't
Right.
wait to work with you again. Yeah.
And it really is. And then when you have it on the flip side, when you work with an agent that, you just have that great rapport off the top. Again, you're working for your clients. they're working for their clients. So there's going to be some battle. There's going to be some banter. That's a part of the job, but do it respectfully. Any other tips that come to mind? If you're a brand new agent, you're finishing the course off, you're going to be starting in March. What's maybe a tip that you would give a new agent who's going to be starting out here this year?
Mentor under somebody.
Yeah.
I think I've harped on this before, and I'm going to again. Please mentor under somebody who is experienced, who you trust. We've alluded to before, interview as many brokerages and brokerage managers, managing brokers that you feel necessary to be able to find that scope of what fits your values and you and your goals and your wants and your needs. But I will say, find an agent who's been doing it, gosh, I don't know, a minimum 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, who you trust. And yes, you might have to make some concessions off the hop about how much you can make, and there's certain rules and there's splits. However, what you will learn will be so invaluable. Case in point with some of these hard deals that come together, where I wonder with the agents that don't have the mentorship, let's say you're lucky enough to get $1 million listing in your first year, but all of a sudden something goes sideways on the inspection or after it closes and somebody can't close and all the legalities stop popping up. Holy Toledo of Johnsons, that is a stressful situation. I've lost sleep over it at nights, worrying about the legalities of things, and I've been doing this a long time, so I know what comes with it. The seasoned agents will be there to kind of guide you through that and also prepare you for what could happen, because it's amazing to make that paycheck. It's amazing to make your client. They're always happy when the sale goes through, but it's the service after, of course, that defines you. So I just wonder with the course, they don't prepare you for that at all. The reality is when you come into it, there's so many moving parts that you're just like, holy cow. I just don't know how the agents are dealing with this and not getting, getting into hot water because of it.
I went to my very first showing in Tuscany. I still remember the house, and I got there, and I was about 15 minutes early because I was like, I had to be ready.
Keen.
I didn't know how to open the lockbox. I'm like, how do I? Because you don't learn these things that you sort of need to know. Literally, I had to call one of my teammates. What do I do here?
At least you had someone to call.
Yeah, exactly. So I was on a team at that time. So I think my tip, new agent tip, is shadow someone, a seasoned agent or someone at your office for a couple weeks. Go on showings with them right along if they'll let you. Sit in open house with them.
Definitely.
See how they put together a CMA. See how they put together a tour. You have 12 showings in a day. How do you book those? How do you time them?
So that you're on time.
Like, that is tricky. If you don't know how to do that, sit and ask questions. See how they talk with people in an open house. Learn the lingo. And the biggest one is know the city. Know the areas, go on, you have the resources, study the community, study how many active listings there are, how many sold, because knowledge is powerful. And when you sit at an open house and people come in and you talk like you're the mayor of Haysboro and you know every school, every sold, every house that's active, those people are going to go, man, this guy or girl really knows their stuff. I might want to give them a call back and use them. But if you go there and you're like, I'm not sure. What did that house sell for down the street? I don't know.
Or if their clients roll up and say, I don't know how to open the lockbox. They don't look as confident.
So that would be mine. Really dig in with another agent, shadow them, go to showings with them, sit open houses with them, see how they put things together, and that will be valuable information.
Those are your tips for now.
Tip Tuesday.
Tip Tuesday.
It might not be Tuesday.
It leads us into something you talked about before too. So agent sort of shout-outs. One of the things when we got together on this podcast is
I wrote mine down because I might forget. Well, I have so many.
We wanted to highlight some of that too.
Yes,
because we're not here to just promote obviously our brand and us, which we love, but working with great agents out there too. I love
We're not here just to promote us, but we are.
I just don't feel like, other than you go into some realtor forums here and there, and it's like, Jane Smith was really good in this deal, and then there's lots of comments being like, that's great. We need to pump up this industry and promote the good things. It's no different than media. Media leads with all the negative, sad, death. What about the positive stories that actually are happening every day? So
Sad death.
let's go over to
Great words.
Randy Merkley with his top agent shout-outs. I
Okay.
feel like some special music should be playing right now, but we'll get there.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some.
Maybe some Benny Hill. Or
So I've done a
something.
few. I'll mention a few. A few recent ones I've done in the last few weeks. Amanda Reynolds. We put together a deal. I never dealt with Amanda. She's with the Justin Haver team. Phenomenal agent. Just a real great communicator. Was on top of the condo docs, and thank you so much, Amanda. You made the deal just seamless and super friendly and accessible, which is huge. Some realtors, it's really hard to get a hold of them sometimes. So shout out to Amanda. Another one I'll shout out to is James Heenan with EXP. EXP, yeah, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
James and I put together a deal in Varsity. I represented the sellers and he brought the buyers. And again, same thing. Super polite, on time with his appointments, following up with texts and emails. So, James, you were awesome to work with.
Was kind and respectful?
Absolutely.
Imagine that.
He was great.
What a concept.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I mean, it was a close to $1 million deal. Easy. It was seamless. It really was seamless. We dealt with a couple things in the inspection.
Yeah.
Worked through it. No one got mad at each other.
And that's another thing too, is that if you can create that rapport, obviously when something goes a little bit, I don't want to say sideways, but when there's some challenges, which there often are, it's working through it together with ideas and obviously working with clients too. But
Yeah.
Any more?
So and then I'll do one more. Jumin Lee. Jumin Lee was incredible. We did a deal in Scenic Acres and a ton of moving parts on this deal with condo docs and some other things that were going on, and just so good to work with through the things. Had a lot of questions, but we were back and forth. And again, the response was key because we didn't. It was one of those where you needed to know answers like now, and if it wasn't a day or two later, the window had closed. So Jumin Lee was outstanding. Those are just 3 agents. I've done, had some other great ones here in the past month, but those were 3 that really stood out to me.
That's cool because also with the amount of agents, I know in some bigger, for example, US or other market cities where you've got tons of agents, you're not necessarily going to work with obviously every agent. Some you'll do repeat business with. Those 3 names, a couple I've heard of, but I've never done a deal with them.
Yeah.
On my side of the equation, a shout out goes out to Perry Scarcelli, who is a colleague of yours.
Scarcelli.
Am I saying it right? Scarcelli? Or
I think Scarcelli.
Oh, see,
Yeah. you had
Perry
to
Scarcelli.
Italianize it more.
And he
Good
was the
friend
first
of
one to
mine.
correct me.
Good
so
friend.
Perry, thank you.
He'll be
And
watching
He's
for
with
sure.
CIR now.
He is.
It's good. And so we had that
Is it?
Strathcona listing. He was even kind enough, believe it or not. So I was the bouncer. I had to watch the door all day. I couldn't move away from all these agent showings. And he, ahead of time, said, "You're going to be busy there. Do you want a coffee or anything?" I gave him those prayer hands and the emoji. I said, "That would be amazing."
Yeah.
And sure enough, he delivered. And that wasn't why his clients ultimately won the
Is
offer.
that
but it was
bribery, or-
yeah, in a way. No.
Is that legal?
It was just a super nice gesture. We had a long negotiation on that deal. Lots of moving parts again.
How many offers did you end up getting?
Total of 6 because
6.
there was a long tenancy. Had the
Right.
tenancy been shorter,
Probably
a lot
would've
more
been more.
agents had asked about.
Sure.
We could have had as many as probably 15 offers on that bad boy. He was great to work with, patient, understanding, as were his clients. I got to meet them at the front door, which was kind of neat too. So, Perry Scarcelli, I will give him a shout out. And then another one that was
Former kicker for the Saskatchewan Roughriders
Thank you for
and
that
Calgary
reminder.
Stampeders.
Thank you for that
Yeah.
reminder.
The man is
For some reason, I
multi-talented.
knew I recognized that.
Yep.
Second
Laces
shout
out. Laces out.
Laces out, right, Finkel. Second shout out to Trung Dien also with EXP. And
Have
so,
done a deal with Trump.
as have I. It's been a couple years since I did. Trung is very professional. He's to
crushes
the
the
point.
deals.
And he gets what I find with him is he gets his clients. So I worked with him before I had the listing. No, that's not true. It was my buyers. This was years ago. And this time again, it was my buyers. He gets his clients to be ready. The property's ready. The expectations are ready, such that when we're doing the negotiations, he gets back to you quickly.
Yeah.
He's responsive. And I'll tell you, we just had a possession yesterday, and his client, it was one of the cleanest, and the home isn't brand new, it was a side-by-side, semi-detached. Cleanest possessions, and everything was
Love that.
And that has to do with the client.
Yeah,
so like,
for sure.
The Trung is very professional, as he has been before, so always nice to work with that. And most of it was for us because of our schedules was through text, believe it or not. So
Yeah.
shout out to Trung.
Yeah, I've done a deal with Trung too, and I think you nailed it very to the point, right? It's just
There's not a lot.
doesn't-
There's not a lot of emotion in it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Not every agent is. Whereas
Yeah.
I like to do a smiling emoji, or
Yeah.
a fire, or a thanks and a thumbs up. That's everybody's a little bit
It's
different.
your thing.
But the respect,
Yeah.
the kindness to an extent, as much as it can be over text, and then just the professionalism of getting it done and working with what needed to. That one was a fairly seamless deal, but just making it available and approachable.
Those are our shout outs. Thank you,
Yeah.
realtors, for being awesome.
Double thumbs up.